Hello again, so back onto the Lincoln. If you remember, we finished off all the bushes, shocks and ball joints and everything in the front end. Now we're just going to be doing the steering joints. We'll be starting by doing the inner and outer tie rods. We've got a complete new setup for those, all three bits, the outer tie rod, inner tie rod, and then the threaded collar there as well. We've got a new drop arm to go in and also an idler arm. So I'll start by doing these tie rods, I think. It's fairly straightforward. Just a matter of pulling the split pin out of there, nut off, give it a tap, and that comes out of there. We've got the new ones sitting over here. So this is enough bits to do one side. Piecing these together, just have to keep in mind that one of them's right hand thread and one's left hand. I think it's these ones are the left hand thread. That one's the right hand thread, and then obviously it's the same in there, because once these are together they piece them together like that, and then that's where you get your toe adjustment from, by turning this. Turn it one way, it winds that one out, winds that one out. Turn it the other way, it winds each of them in. So I'll start by getting these ones off the car, then we'll lay them down on the bench and just get them roughly set up, about the same length and everything. The car will obviously need to have a wheel alignment once it's done, so as long as it's close it'll be good enough. Right, so I'll go ahead and get that off and we'll go from there. Okay, so got the old one laid up here next to the new bits. So all I'll do is I'll just piece it all together and just sort of get them roughly the same amount of threads either side of that. We'll leave all of this loose as well, just for getting all the orientation of this right once it's in the car, with it being able to twist in there. Be able to get that right easy enough. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and work out which thread is which in here, screw it all together and see how she looks. Right, simple as that. So you see it's fairly straightforward really. Just get it close enough and then we'll just get adjusted when it gets in alignment. So yeah, it's just as simple as banging it back on the car. Okay, so that's those on. So complete rod on there, complete rod on there. Haven't done these up fully tight yet because either I'll have to undo them and adjust them. If I get it on the ground, looks like it's got major toe in or out, I'll get them a little bit closer, but also the wheel alignment guy will have to do it. So next up I might do, because it's fallen apart completely, I might do this idler arm, get that back up. You see those bushes got damaged in the just from the heat that was coming off the exhaust. So you'll get that one done next, and then we'll move on to that to the drop arm on the other side. So see how this goes. Alright, scratch that. You can see the idler arm's still up in there. The one I've been supplied is the wrong one. That seems to be a never-ending battle in the automotive industry, is getting wrong parts, so it's good to see it happens in other parts of the world as well. Instead, we'll go on and get the drop arm done now. Now this is just your normal taper ball joint there. Take the nut off, give it a hit and it pops out. This end is that big nut with a spring washer, but this arm in here is actually on a spline. So it looks like, to get it in the right position, they've got 4 bigger teeth in there, so you can get it in 4 different positions, but so you shouldn't actually be able to get it in the wrong one, because obviously if you line the wrong ones up, it'll be way out of alignment. So we'll go ahead and get that old one off. We'll have a nosy and see if that's the right part. That old one came off really easy, just a couple taps with a hammer and she popped off the spline there, so it's always good. Yeah, and as you can see, it's got the same 4 bigger teeth on the spline there, and then they just have to line up with, you see on there, there's pretty much just a tooth missing on there for it to line up with them. So slide it up in there, get the nuts done up and all done. So got that all fitted up. It's all fairly straightforward like the rest of this job has been. I've just lowered it down, put the steering wheel straight, and I've just noticed that it's got, I can't really tell, and that's got a little bit of toe in, especially on the side. So I've just loosened these brackets, and I'll just wind them in. So as I wind this, you can see, oops, that's come out. You can see the tie rod end winds in, and it also winds in on this side too. So I'll just get it close enough by eye. If you can pick up that that's coming in or not. That might be pretty close. That looks pretty good there. Yeah, I'll leave that one there. I'll just tighten those brackets up. I'll just give this side a little bit of a tweak, and that'll be that done until we can track down a idler arm. I just chucked a bigger washer in there just to stop it falling off like it was, so at least then I can move it around. But yeah, I'll have to try track one of them down. Righto, next day or a couple of days later, can't remember where I was at. But I've got a idler arm to go in it now. But first up we'll get the wheel bearings done, the studs, brake pads and the fitting kit. So to start that, we'll get the brake caliper off, get that over on the bench ready to pull it all apart and get all those bits swapped out. Then get the brake rotor off, get the studs punched out of it, then get the bearings punched out, clean it all up and piece it together with the new bits. So I'll go get all these parts off and get them on the bench ready to go. Got our bits on the bench already. It took all of 5 minutes. It's all fairly straightforward. Just the brake hose onto the brake caliper and then 2 mounting bolts. It's about as basic as it comes. And then to get that off is just pop the dust cap off in the centre there and get the centre nut off. I just got a similar setup to a trailer. But I just have a little stub that sticks out, the centre nut, 2 taper roller bearings that you just adjust the play out of it with the nut. Fairly simple. Now, one of those studs is broken, so it'll be a little bit harder to hit out. You just have to use a punch and a hammer. But these ones here, we're not reusing them, so you can just hit them on the end with a hammer and they'll just pop straight out. The outer races for the bearings, they'll just tap out of there with the hammer and the punch again. Fairly simple. So I'll go ahead and get that done. Just have to use a lever bar to lever that seal out of there, and then that one comes out the same. So fairly easy. I'll punch them out, clean them up and get the new ones in. Alright, got the new bearing races in there. They just punched out with a punch and a hammer, easy. The outer one and then the inner one in there. Also got the studs out. That's what was in there, that's what should be in there. For some reason someone put some in there that were twice as long, and our broken one. They will come out fairly simple too. So the new studs, they just come in from the back and just punch in as well. Got a little knurling in there that locks them into the brake disc there. Stops them turning, also stops them coming out. I'll put some grease in there and pack the new bearings with grease, get them all in there, and that's that part of it done. There it is, new studs in, they just smacked in easy. Wheel bearings in there were greased up and in there ready to go. New seal on the back there. I cleaned the stub down on the car itself, so it's all ready to just bolt up. It should be good. That's all on, looking all pretty. Nice and smooth, rolling as it should. I didn't show sort of packing the wheel bearings or adjusting it on here, because there's that many different opinions on how it's done that my comments section blows up enough as it is without having people argue about that. Now that's done, move on to the caliper. Smooth. These calipers are a little more complicated than what they need to be. For instance, this outer pad here, I mean, it's got these little sort of tabs on here that help actually hold it securely in place, but to stop it sort of moving around, vibrating around, it's got these little screws that come through and have a nut on the outside of it. Those never come off nicely. And then it's shimmed up for days. So the inner pad sort of locates onto the bracket here, and then that tab's actually on wrong, so that's not ideal. These tabs push down on the pad to stop it vibrating around. They just bolt up on the back in there. That's these ones. And then they've got these bigger tabs that help, I'm guessing they help pull the actual caliper and the inner pad away from the rotor. They sort of, these ones there, they bolt up on there and they sort of spring back, and once they're all bolted up it springs back and pulls the caliper back. They're fairly simple too, they're just bolted on with this little bolt here, and then this one up here secures the top of it to the actual caliper, but then that bolt actually acts as the slider as well. So I'll just pull it all apart. I normally start by pulling these ones off, getting that pad out, pull these off, and then I can separate the two, the caliper from the bracket, and then have a bit of a fight going back and forward trying to get these off. So I'll just I'll go ahead and strip all that out and show you all the bits laid out. That actually came apart quite nicely. So what we end up with here is a caliper, a bracket, which has our slider boots in it, which we've got some new ones for just here. Some new ones that just push in there, locate in there, and a bit of anti-seize grease in there, and they're good to go. Both our brake pads. That's our outer one. It's got the holes there that the studs go through. These little studs here, these actually came off pretty good too. Have had them be a bit of a nightmare to get off before. And then we end up with our springs and sliders and all the bolts that hold it all on. You don't have to replace the springs, but it's just good practice too, because obviously over time with the brakes getting hot and cold, these are getting hot and cold as well, losing their tension, and the kits are cheap enough, so you may as well do it. So we've got the new pads and all the new springs and slider boots and everything. I'll just throw her all back together and get her back on the car. That's what we end up with. Got our new springs on there that, yeah, they're like bolting them up. You can definitely tell that they're designed to pull the caliper, so this pad off the brake rotor, obviously to stop it dragging. And those ones, yeah, hold that inner pad into the caliper to stop it vibrating, but also allow it to still sort of float around. And the outer pads in. Just ran these studs on the wire wheel just to clean them up, make them easier to chuck back on and hopefully come back off nice and easy next time. So yeah, back on the car she goes, and it's job done. That's that, all back together. So pretty much everything in this front end's new now. Everything that wears out is anyway. The only thing that we're a little bit disappointed we couldn't get was brake hoses. There's none of them available at the moment, but we'll do them as soon as they come back into stock. So yeah, once again, it's all fairly straightforward. Around on the other side, I've already got the other side done as well. I actually did this side first, just to make sure that everything, all the parts were right and didn't have any mishaps along the way again. So the only job left to do now is that idler arm, that steering idler arm, which I have the kit over here for. Now I have to actually sort of work out how this goes and what way around it goes, because obviously this one's all been burnt and melted. It doesn't really look like it should. Obviously got a solid bush here, and then two-piece one with the crush tube goes in there, but I just have to work out which way around it goes. And we reuse this pin which bolts onto the chassis. So I'll just quickly try and nut that out and see what the go is there. That's the only way I could work out it would go on. I just need to check with this here. I can't find a hole in the actual pin there for a split pin to go into. This one's got one, I just haven't put it in yet. But yeah, I just want to double check that that's how it all goes. But yeah, if that's the case, then we're all done. I'll just go over and chuck some grease in all of these grease nipples. Check the adjustment on the wheel bearings. Just put some anti-seize on these wheel stud threads and see how she looks once it's on the ground. But yeah, I'm pretty certain she's all good to go. I'll give these a bit of I'll just tighten them up a little bit just for carting the car around at the moment until the motor goes back in, and then we'll just crack them off and then tighten them up again. Obviously without the engine it's not going to sit down level where it's supposed to be, so those won't be in the correct spot yet. But yeah, it's only a 2-minute job to do that once the motor's in, so that's that job all done. Yeah, if you like the videos then give it a like obviously. Let me know what you think, and yeah, no doubt we'll see this one again soon once the engine's been put back in it. It's motor's getting put back in, then some headers are getting made up. So the motor's going in once this rust has been all done. So she's got some rust there, and a big rust hole in the corner there. So all of that's getting done, and then once the motor's in and the headers are made for it, it's coming back here for me to just rewire it all, tidy up all the bird's nest, and he also wants to get rid of all the unnecessary vacuum hoses that are everywhere, get the cruise control out of it, just really tidy up the engine bay for him. So yeah, give the video a like for me, would be mint. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.